Welcome again. So I'll give a brief introduction of Nazaria and the program that we are organizing. I'm Rituparna. I go by she, her pronoun. I work with an organization called Nazaria Queer Feminist Resource Group, which was founded in 2014. And the reason to start the organization is to build a queer perspective across organizations and work in schools, colleges, and different organizations and conduct trainings on gender, sex, sexuality, and LGBTIQA issues. We also run a helpline. We do casework. We do research, advocacy, provide free mental health counseling to LGBTQI persons. So this is one of the programs that we run. It's called the Oral History Archiving Project. And it is very close to your heart, Sunila. I know oral history archiving. And so the reason we thought of oral history archiving is because most of the times we only hear about, when we talk about the LGBTIQ issues, we only hear about certain activists, or we only hear about Section 377. We do not hear about LBT organizing. We do not hear about movements. We do not hear about intersectionalities across movement. So we thought of organizing this oral history archiving project called Our Lives, Our Tales, OLOT. And we started in 2016, and we have had the chance to call people from Delhi itself. So people like Pramada, Jaya, and many others came and spoke about Delhi activism and the struggles and challenges. And this time we thought of calling in activists from all over the country. So we have had a session with Sappho for Equality. We have had a session with Labia LBT Collective, and now we are having a session with you. Welcome everyone. So Sunil needs no introduction, but I'll try to introduce him. So he was a Kerala state women's team captain. He came to Bangalore, started working in Sangama, which is an NGO working on issues of sexual and gender minorities. But he got fed up of working there. And he started working independently on his research work through community consultation process under the fellowship of Alternative Law Forum, and published a report called Towards Gender Inclusivity. He has worked on oral history documentation of LGBTIQA persons across South India with the fellowship of CCDS, Open Space Pune. He, along with Rumi Harish, started a study on discrimination at KLF and have written a report called Conversations on Caste Discrimination in South India after conducting 95 conversations across South India. Sunil identifies as a trans man. So Sunil, welcome again. And certain questions that, we have certain questions from Nazaria. We'll also open it up to the audience. But we'd like to start with your journey from a woman's state captain in Kerala to Bangalore to working in Sangama, identifying as a trans masculine person, trans men. How was the journey? What was the journey like?
I think when I was in Kerala, so I was playing cricket. After that, when I started realizing myself that I'm something, it's not like anyone. So there was a lot of problem at home, and I was searching for something to kind of come out from there. And one of my friends gave me a helpline number saying that it was a child helpline number, and I called that, and they called me to the office. I went there and I spoke to them, and then when I told all these things, they said you like no, they refer me to another counseling center called Trani. That point of time in Kerala, Trivandrum was there. When the firm and others, basically firm was working when, and so I went there and I was speaking to, I think if I remember correctly, I think her name is Eliama. So I was talking to her, and then after some time, I saw my train walking in, and then she said, like, yeah, there he is. You can talk to him. He'll be a better person. So I spoke to him, and then he told me that, like, no, there is a, a meeting called Vadil, which happens every Sunday or something like that. If you like, if you go there, you can find, you can talk to them, and people like you will be there. So like that, I went in this group. It's called Vadil. That was the
Adil.
group Vadil, which is door.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the space I met Reshma Bharadwaj, Deepa, then Aryan, Robin, and a lot of people like that. And then when we started meeting there, and I continuously started going there, that's when this new case came up in the like in the media, and all that problem happened when the first case of no, it came out as lesbian case, which is Nandu and Sheila's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we discussed that, and that is where my political journey started. I feel like no, that's where these kind of discussions, and I started understanding, and, like we started speaking, and all these things started from there. So that happened, and then after that, like when my trainer and all these people were there, and we were sitting and discussing about that, and saying that, like no, they should be moving out from there for some time, for a temporary thing. So that point of time, like in Trivandrum, there was a program happening under the Sangamas project.
Mm-hmm.
So Manohar was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I met Manohar there first, and and he was saying that, like no, we will take them to Bangalore, and but the only problem is, like, they don't have any other language other than Malayalam. So I volunteer saying that, like, no, okay, I can come with them. I can speak, because that point of time I know Hindi. I was speaking Hindi other than Malayalam. So I said I can come with them as a translator. Like that, I think went home and took my things, and I said, like, I'm going for a job. Left. Like that, I reached Bangalore, and I came to Bangalore, and then that was the point of time. Like, you remember that WF was like 2014, 2004.
2004.
Yeah. So we all came to Bombay for that. We attended that, and while coming back, uh, this Manohar told me, like, told us, like, it's not only me. We were like me, Christy, and all these people were there. He told me that, like, told us that, like, you can start working in Sangama. So that point of time, obviously, I was 2003 end. I came here, and I was searching for jobs and all. And so I said, okay, fine. And then I started working there. Me, Christy, and all of them, we started working there as an office assistant. So that point of time, this no, also this group that autonomous group called Vividha was there. That used to meet every Sunday in Sangama's office. So we started attending that and then started talking, and that's where this sexuality, gender, and all conversation happens. And I started thinking, like, when somebody say that this is an identity, from there I started thinking, okay, this is an identity. So then we were thinking, and we were thinking of like, where will we be? Like in the sense, me, Christy, or like all these people. So that's when this like, and they had this one project called LVWT.
What name? What's the name?
No, that point of time it was LVWP.
LBW.
Lesbian, yeah, a lesbian bisexual women project. It was like that. So then after a point, what happened is like I started feeling uncomfortable in the sense of like political wise, like the thoughts, the discussions, and the way the organization is behaving with the community. So I mean, like I had clashes with people there in the sense the head of the organization, and then later I think I worked there for 1.5 years. After that, I left, and and then by then I knew Rumi. I met Rumi because like when this one of one of the friend who came from uh, France. Her name is Floyd, who's an artist who came here to do a project called Sakiri. They did a project called Sakiri, like basically a musical uh, performance, music and a performance art kind of a thing, which is with the community. So for that, they approached us, and that's when I met Rumi. Then after that, I think I like because of this Sangama's this thing, he was not very close to me. But with this Sakiri project, when we started sharing our stories and all, so that's when we become good friends. And so after that Sakiri project, I left Sangama, and I was just left and being there. But what happened is that point of time, Rumi was working in Sampada. So they were planning to do a program called Ata Vadanata, basically Game for Change. So they did that program, and they wanted to kind of they work with this youth, rural areas and rural and urban, both the sides. So then so when Rumi was working as a convener for that program or coordinator for that program. So he asked me that like, no, can you do this, that like organize women's team, cricket team in corporation colleges? I said, oh yeah, I can do. So through that, I started doing that, and that point of time, it's like I didn't have any job and all these things. But one thing I got is like I started studying in a private this thing, like a small institution called NIIT. I started studying electrical diploma, and to do that course, uh, Labia helped me. Labia have given me a fellowship of throughout that year. So I was with that, I was doing these things, and then I was doing that. So I made 3 teams for all corporation colleges. and the and after the program, I was continuing my listening, and I met with an accident. In the sense of like, I had a problem with my ear, and I fell down one day, and in that this thing in the hospital, I was in the hospital, and so they said like I had I had seizure that for this thing. It's what doctor said. So after that, I was taking that treatment and ear surgery and all these things happened. And after that, doctor suggested that like don't do because electrical work is like if I get shocked, then there is a possibility of getting seizure again. So I didn't continue to do that. I didn't start working on that, but I applied in different places to work, and I applied in different places. And CWC actually called me for an interview. I went there, and they were almost about to give me job, but by that time Sangama called me again because that point of time Rex was working there
Mm-hmm.
in Sangama, and Rex they called me back saying that can you work in this project, the LBWP that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
I, and I spoke to Rex saying that like this is how I left earlier here, and I don't want that kind of a situation again. Openly said everything, and I said like no. And then he said, no, nothing like that will happen again. And please do this. And so I came to that project. Again, I started working in Sanima in that project. And through that project, I started doing crisis intervention among the community. So that's when we started like we started a helpline, and also there was another mobile number which I was handling project. So every Sunday we used to sit in the helpline, and like, no, I was one who's mostly there. Because in the initial stage, I was the only person who was working in that project. Then after that, I fought and I said like, no, I can't do A to Z work in this project. I, and also, you don't give me power to take decision. Also, every time I have to come back to you and wait for your decision to be do that something. If I have to do something, you have to approve, and then only I have to do. So then they said, Rex said that, okay, yeah, no, we are searching for a person for as a coordinator in this project. We have asked someone. We are waiting for a reply for that. That time only I like they said like no, that person is also from the community and all. I sense that okay, it is Rumi. I said okay, fine, and then after that, so after some like after I think 8 months, I worked in that project alone, and then Rumi came in as a coordinator, and then we started working together. So then we started like planning and doing the planning for the project, and started writing proposals and reports and everything. Like we only work. So that is the point of time we got that uh, uh, that power or that project in our hand, because we had the like and we had full freedom to work in that project. So we kind of planned certain things like like that we started doing, and then obviously this through because of like this Sahayatriga in Kerala, through them a lot of crisis cases came to us, and they lot of people migrated from Kerala to Bangalore, and like that a lot of people who were in here, and still we used to attend the Vivida meetings, Sunday meetings. things
Mm-hmm.
with all the community. And that's when, like, for me, the thing is like, no, I feel that lesbian is not found by someone. It is not me or like me or Rumi or some people. Like it is not. It was a need of the community, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
community felt that like no, they in that Sunday meetings there is no voice of theirs, and their things, their issues have been not shared or discussed. There was an uncomfortability with the community people, the female assigned community people, and they came up with the demand saying that like, can we also have a separate meeting? Can we get a space? So I put that in Sangama. We said like okay, we will also do a separate meeting because people want to share. And one thing is like when people come and sitting in larger group, there is an uncomfortability people are feeling. So that's how we like came up with Nesbit, and
Which year was it?
it was 2005.
2005.
Yeah, and that it was just a collective. There was no name for that and all. This like, and then what our activities was like, we started like, we thought like, why don't we do like use theater as a medium to do advocacy? That's how we started, right? Like, writing every like no it was together, it was a group work, which is like that's when we started realizing that like no a lot of people who are whatever skills they have, because there was people who can write script, who can sing, who can write poems, and who can direct. So, like it's not in a professional way of directing, but they could do. I mean, like they could do things. So like that, a lot of people's skill and this thing we kind of it came out, and then we evolved that as a group and started doing plays, and we did several plays. Our first, yeah, I remember that in a program in Malleshwaram ground we did. It was Sangama's program, uh, and in that we did the first play we did. Because that point of time the problem was like everybody doesn't have one language. It was multilingual. No,
Yeah,
so
migration and all.
yeah,
Yeah.
used to try like we used to translate in a Sunday. If we meet in the morning, the meeting will finish in the evening 6 7, because when people are talking, we have to do translations in different languages like
Mhm.
Kannada. If it is Kannada, then Malayalam, then Hindi, then like that. So so like what we planned to do is like the play was like no, like everybody can't speak one language. Because of that we did like we wrote the script, and we wrote each part in it like different languages, and then people will enact in the stage, but the voice will come from the background. So somebody will read it out, that the dialogues, and it was a narration which was we wrote, and the narration will come from behind as a voiceover, and people will enact in the stage. That's how we do the first play, which was called Typical Indian Woman. That is the first play we did. And after that, yeah, we and yeah, in that program, because like when we were planning that program and we were planning this play and all these things, that's when like one day suddenly Manohar came into our meeting and started saying that like, no, what is the name? You have to put a name, because you are a group. You have to put a name. And then people started thinking, and then he only said this lesbian, and then it came. It like that's how that name came. We didn't choose that name. it came like that. So that's when, from that's when it is called lesbian. Otherwise, it was just a collective, which was like, and in the group, we had a lot of discussions. Basically, the thing is like, we started calling people from outside, bringing people from outside to discuss different issues. It's like one, I remember that one was the first discussion we had was about the history of activism and politics and all these things, which is Nilanjana came and talked to us. And then we had discussion about sexual abuse. Then it like automatically came, certain things automatically, suddenly in one meeting it will come. Like, the sex work issue which has came up. Like, and identities. Basically, the thing is like, somebody was saying that like, like we had our group was like with all the people in the sense of like, we had sex workers who identify as queer women, basically lesbian or bisexual. So that was one issue which has come up in our group. No, they have other group. Why we have to give space for them here? So that then our discussion was like, no, their group is a different thing. Our group is a different thing. This is based on identities, and and that group is not their identity. That is their work. So that's when we started discussing these different sort of things of taking. Like, we have to finally say that, like, okay, if you all want to go, you can go. Are you doing sex work? Then you can go. They will also give you space. It's not this thing, but this is a space which is based on our sexual orientation or gender identity or whatever. That is the thing. But that's why they are identifying as that, and they have that feeling. That's why they are here. And we should not ask anybody's identity when someone come in this kind of a group. Like, it is understandable that like why they coming into this group. We should not question in like anybody's identity, why they have come here. We should not ask that why they are here, because the group name itself is given that, and our group is for what is everybody knows. So then why should we ask again? And why should this kind of introduction like it is added to that introduction that like when we come and sit and say, okay, I am this and my name is this and I'm from wherever and my identity is this. It was part of the introduction before. So we are the one who cut that. We said like we don't need an introduction which is with your identity, because when you are here, we know that why you are here. That's understanding. Without knowing, you will not come here, or without knowing, you will not come here. Oh, so that's the thing. So it's like we should not. That's because we felt like that is humiliating. Because every time that is what we do outside. Like we have to say our identity. We are this. We are this. That is the same thing which we have to say it inside the group also. So that was a kind of like making an comfortable space for people to walk in. Actually, that was the idea. So that's how we arrived into some understanding. Like these are the discussions which we have, and yeah.
So
And yeah.
Say.
Yeah, that's how Lesbit was existed for so many years.
Yeah. And what kind of work did you do mostly?
We
plays you did
yeah, we did plays, and like through plays, whatever money we collected, we used it for people's treatments and all these things. So that kind of things we do.
Did lot of casework also come?
Yeah, lot of. But Lesbit was not doing crisis intervention. intervention that point of time. It was Sangama's project which was doing crisis intervention.
The LWP project.
Yeah. And that is another thing which I want to add, that like the LBWP was there, and that's when when all these crisis cases came from Kerala and different places. So people who are coming, like one person will be a trans man person. At that point of time, there is no identity called trans man.
Yeah.
And that's when this term of F2M came up.
F2M, yeah.
Yeah. So the one person is F2M and partner. That's how people used to come. So that's when we started thinking about the project itself, saying that why this project is like, this name is like this, it is a problem.
Yeah, LWP, yeah.
Right? Yeah. WP. So then we started thinking like, okay, where to put the T? So where to put the T? If we put the T after W, it will be a problem. So then we said, okay, we will remove the P. Anyway, everybody know that it is a project only. Okay, fine. So we remove the P, and before the W, if we put the T, then it will be a problem. So that's why we put T after the W, we put the T and one I, which is intervention. Which I is like, it can be intersex or intervention. Basically, we meant that intervention. That's what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the project name changed. Because if we say the lesbian, bisexual, trans women intervention, it is not possible.
Yeah.
That will be a problem. That's why we said, okay, after the W, we will put the T. So lesbian, bisexual, women, and trans intervention is what we meant. Yeah, that's how the project name came, and that is that word. And then, yeah, that was a big journey, which was like. After that, again.
Year was it that trans? When did you change it to trans? Which year was it?
I think it was in 2006-07. Because that's when we started getting a lot of cases from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and all.
Yeah. So while working on this LGBT population, and while being part of Lesbit is a collective, but while being part of Lesbit, did you receive support from the fellow organizations that were there around your around the state, or you received did they recognize you as a collective? Did they have those meaningful discussions with you about advocacy? So how was the reaction?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the point of time we started thinking of discussing and the intersectionality and all these things. So what I felt is people who are identifying in this way, their identities are this, and sexuality and gender is the so-called different. Because of that, they are here, and they are a group, and it doesn't mean that everybody have to be an activist. Or I feel that there is an unnecessary pressure on people to become an activist or be an activist, like that. So, but my thought was no, everybody is not. When people come from their whole space to somewhere else, it is to live their life. It is not that they want to do
activist.
Yeah. So that's why they come, and because of that, what happened is their world will be in that one group. They don't have any connection with the outside world. So I was thinking it was limited in that manner. So that's when I thought of bringing this different angle to that, and different discussion to this and calling different people to group. Yeah, like that we started. So we started different, like I remember once, uh, like Nilanjana came and once we called Ponni came to our group because it was a small group and it like this, this like because of the um, inaccessibility, the relationships were like no turning around in that group only. So so there was a lot of issues, personal issues also was there. Interpersonal relationship issues was also there. And there was a lot of like violence, emotionally and physically. So we thought of like bringing someone to talk about that. And that's when we brought Ponni to that. And Ponni came and did a wonderful session about like no love and violence and all these. And it was very good. It was good session. And then once I remember one that Sanjana came. Sanjana came and spoke about acid attack and mm, their struggle and like that. So that from that point of time, I was trying to engage with other groups, but there was a resistance from people. No, that's when we started talking to women's groups here in Bangalore. That's when the one question came in my mind. That like, no, because a lot of people who are facing violence from family,
Mm-hmm.
like no, because of their identity,
Mm-hmm.
it it is domestic violence. Why
Domestic
don't
violence.
it? Why?
Absolutely.
So that's when I started thinking like why it is not considered as domestic violence. It is because of this, no, that line of like family and non-family divide. No, it's a family issue. Like no family in the sense mother and father have the authority to correct the children.
Huh.
That was the understanding. So that's when this question came into my mind. That like, and then I started thinking about like how we can think of this. That's conversation when we started, and then that's when I asked one question that like to this groups with Shakun and Madhu and all these people. I asked like, no, you are saying you are working for women's issues. Domestic violence is women's issue, and all these things your word is like women's, which you are not particularly saying that like no straight women or anything. Then why don't you? Why this is not your concern?
Hmm.
Just because it is somebody's choice, it is not your concern.
Hmm.
It's that. So that's how we started that discussions and like no with I remember having these discussions with Madhu, Shakun, and Gauri,
Hmm.
even Mallige. We had discussions. After that, Gauri and Mallige's group who started calling Lisbeth to perform everywhere, and like they had this, and I remember once I called a um, meeting with different organizations and groups, people to discuss about this, looking at domestic violence as a this thing, like how we can do this, how we can address these issues in this. Like that we called a meeting that was happened in ISI, and Arti was there, Arvind was there, and Gauri and all the Bangalore groups people were there. Sorry. I'm sitting outside because my house doesn't have network properly.
Network problem. Okay. Is it comfortable for you?
Yeah, yeah,
Sure. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I'm fine. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that continues. Like, and I think like more than lesbit, I feel that like my journey still continues. Engaging with other groups, engaging with other issues is still continuing.
Yeah.
Like lesbit, we tried our level best to kind of talk a lot of things, but that like no, it was obviously like no, the people in that also was built under that enjoyist model way of thinking. So that also become in that way. So then later me and Ruby left from Lesbit and Sangama both. And and we started thinking of what to do next. That's when we came up with this idea of like, and that came because like we called to discuss that. We called a meeting with like that point of time. Chenika was in Bangalore. She came for some meeting. So we called different people. One is Chenika, then um, Aarti, then Swati Sheshati,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah. Swati and Vinay Chandran. And so Sharda was there, and we called a meeting to discuss about like say thinking and talking about like no, this is what the idea is. Like we want to work further. We want to come up with an organization. So that's when people start asking us like, no, you want to work, then why you want an organization? What is the organization's intention? Like, no? So so that's when that in that meeting, Aarti just said that like, no, why don't you do a study based on these issues? That will become your base to move forward. If you want an organization or want to do it another way, we will give you a fellowship from me. That's how me and Ruby started
The,
working on that.
that work, the oral history archiving project, right?
No, it is that first work.
The gender wala booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And
started thinking like no violence as a this thing, and then looking at all the identities. But when we worked and when we started writing, and it turned into something else, and that's why that it is all about towards gender inclusivity.
hmm.
Is a forethought and thinking further, like how we can this money.
Hmm.
And one chapter was
Yeah.
uh, violence. One chapter was about the identity, gender identity, trans men. One was about discrimination. Particularly, one chapter were there discrimination,
Hmm.
thinking about discrimination, like that. It was like my way of working is like no, it is always a conversation. It is not like one-on-one interview or something like that. Like if when we are meeting one person, we'll have conversations. I I always feel that like no, in conversations a lot of things can come out. This question answer session we will lose certain things. So because in conversation we are thinking with that, and then it is a lot of things which will come out, and from there we'll get new questions which we'll ask, and we'll go further. That's how we work. That's how I do research work or interviews or. That's why I always call conversations. It's not.
Hmm. And that's how the conversation journey started.
Yeah.
The oral history conversation journey started.
Yeah.
So how did that thing start?
Yeah. After this ALF fellowship, I was thinking what to do. So in like what my observations were like when I was working with this community, because of this enjoyization of the community, like the way we speak is a particular language which comes. You know? I was just started thinking like, no, before all these things, before knowing all these jargons and all these names and all these words, how we used to express ourselves. But we were existing that point of time also, before that also. So how we used to express ourselves? What's the thinking? What was the language we used to use before? So that was the way of thinking I had. So we wrote this thing, concept note around that. Basically to document people reflecting back to their life and saying about where their happiest moment or saddest moment or like in that certain areas. That was the idea, and that's how we started that conversation. And CCDS, I applied in CCDS. It's called open space. Under CCDS, they have a thing called open space. So they gave me the fellowship and started working on that. And traveled all over South India and met people.
Yeah.
We met people
95
and
people.
no, that is the later one. Discrimination
The
project.
later one. The CCDS was different, yeah.
Yeah.
So how many people did you meet?
In that, I think I had around 30 people. No, we got video record. And that also, like, no, we did that and I reported to them back every month. I used to do 5 minute clips and there's a blog which I opened and I used to put that in that. So the blog is there. And after that, what I felt it's like, no, like how to present this, how to reach it out to the people. That's when I came up with the idea of theater again. And I spoke to Mangai and we did two workshops with people. Gautaman was there at one time. And with community and people showing these videos. And based on that, Revati, Tamil Nadu, from Chennai, the filmmaker Revati wrote the script, and we did a performance in Chennai. It's called Nanga Ready.
It's called?
Nanga Ready.
Okay. Meaning?
Be ready. We are ready. It was a satire, please. It's like, no, it was about this two gender system, how it's like, no, train people to be in these two. And questioning the system. Basically, the question to the audience that like, this is how our system is, and making fun of that. That's how it came. And Ponni was there. The first show I remember, Ponni was there. Ponni was acting. Yeah. That is how that is oral history documents outcome came on that way. And also CCDS have come up with a film documentary with all the videos and my interview, and so that's there in their website.
It's there in the website, okay. Yeah. And then what did you do after that? You have been doing a lot of stuff, so you have to tell us what you have been doing. Yeah. Then the oral documentation came up.
After that, After that, I was thinking, what is next? See, my this thing was like, no, 1 year I will have work, income. The other, the next year I will not have any income. In that 1 year, I'll sit and write concept notes of my thinking. What next? So always I do in that way. And that one year, obviously, Rumi will take care of me, and the other 1 year I will have job. Rumi will not have. So that's how we switch here and there, and then do. So we like 1 year I took, and I like in the first report, I was just thinking what is next. So in the first report there was a chapter called thinking about discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought when we thinking about discrimination, why should we think about discrimination in only like uh, as one set of people, which is one set of gender, sexuality, and why don't we think the larger level, like no discrimination as an umbrella, this thing, or marginalization as an umbrella term. Under that discriminations, and particularly we to think of this thing in a way that each marginalization have its own specificity also. Like we have to address it specifically. What is the need and what is the thing we have to work on? Like that. But if we can bring all these things together in one platform, at least to have a conversation, and through that, through that lead a campaign against discrimination. Because there is no other law which is talking about discrimination in any of that point of time. There was no other specific law. So that's why larger level we were thinking. And we wrote, and that's when we, and yeah, it's, so that this thing, what concept note divide into two projects basically. One the first we submitted to ALF. After that, we called a meeting with different people from all over, with to basically think of how to go forward with this. So from there was another process came up, that looking at discrimination in the lens of sexuality and gender. So that was another project which we started, which was like me, Haditumi, and Shailika, Gautam Khan, Vinay, and others were there, and which came which we got funds from Ford, which is through TISH, which we did. So that is another project which was.
You did, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I remember the play that you put up.
Yeah, and from that also the outcome was one play, which is called Begum. Which is our that was our journey of when we started, because our in that thing, our area of work was public spaces and public accommodation. So when we were talking about that, this one story came into our this thing. One of the community persons shared the story of a Begum. There was a mahal and there was a person called Begum. So that's called Begum Mahal, where people used to go. All these community used to go, and they had that very open space, very inclusive space. So we started thinking about that's an important part. So we went behind that, and got all the several interviews about information. We started collecting information about that, and then we were thinking because people hesitate to give information about that also, because it is the land mafia thing also, real estate mafias. this thing was there in that. People were scared to give source. So we were thinking like how to put it in French. Again, so like no, we are not saying that this is true or this is not true. So it's a fiction basically. It can be a fiction. It, like there can be certain truths also. So what to do? Then we came up with this idea of play again. So that's how we came up with a play called Begum, Freedom Begum. And that we did, and we first we did the reading of that in our presentation in this. After that, we took like I applied in IFA to continue the play, and I got the money from there, and we started workshops and started training the play, and we did the play. And I think July 30th we did our first play in Ravindra Kalashatra in Bangalore.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, but after that there were some issues around like no with like no inside that. So we wound up that. We didn't want to continue that. We wound up the play.
So it's a question that comes up in LBT groups mostly, that personal relationships happen, romantic relationships happen,
Yeah.
sexual relationships happen. How do they impact the groups? How did it impact your group, if it did ever? And this is what we have seen all over the country. That this is
It impact, like especially in lesbian, that was the biggest problem which was there, because like they came as partners and there were people which switching, people changing partners, and all these things came up. And there were obviously I'm like most of the people are from Kerala, and they started talking about this like Kerala morality and all. So I'm like, that's how I become a non-Keralian for them, non-Keralian for them, because I started opposing all these things and I started questioning that. So the question was like, how can you be like this, being a Kerala person? He said like, no, I'm like this. So like in a way that have affected the group. I think. A lot of people like left after that. And also lesbian thing is like no, there was, but still there was a strength lesbian had, because that community, because it was came up from that physical space. It was not an online or what,
space, yeah.
physical space, that sharing and that concern and that thing there. And because of that only till now, like no, some people we are still friends. We still go to like each other's house. We still hang out and all these things happen. Like that point of time also, it is like if huge fights happens also. But if something happened to one person in that group, everybody will run to that. That kind of a bonding was there with lesbian. That is still there, I think.
So last time I met you, it was in Calcutta, and we were talking about mental health and the kind of work that you were doing. You were totally overburdened with casework. So with regard to that, how do you see, like, what? So okay, let me say my question. So casework, the kind of casework you guys have been doing is tremendous, right? You pick up calls at 12 o'clock at night, you pick up calls at 2 o'clock at night, and it has impacted your mental health and your physical health a lot, right? Like last time we had a discussion, you said that this is one of the reasons. So how to go about it? How to make a boundary? And this is an advice that you need to give to young groups like us, because and also some other people watching, because how to draw the line, how to make sure that your health is not impacted with the kind of cases that come up. It does not trigger you in a way. Yeah, yeah.
See, I think I still don't have have an answer to that, because I still do the same kind of work. Because that's like, for me, the thing is like, that's a trust which, why people call me on 2 o'clock, with that trust that like I will pick up. That's a trust I have built with the people, or I have given to the people. With that hope and trust, they call. If somebody is calling on a helpline, which means like they need help, and they are sure that like no, they will get that help from wherever they are calling. That's a trust we have built through crisis intervention. I don't want to break that. So because of that, I am still doing that work. That's it. But there are certain things which we can say, like no, I'm like, we right now what we are doing, like no, we, that's why where I came up, we came up with some of us came together and came up with a group called Rahi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And Rahi's main focus is to do crisis intervention.
President.
And so now what I'm doing is like no, lot of cases which, because my personal number is with everyone. So if some case comes, they like without even asking, my number will be given.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, mine or Rumi's number will be given.
Yeah.
So what right now we are doing is we are directing that to Rahi and saying that they will take it.
Yes, yes.
And we did, like, because we did crisis intervention training with people. That's something which I was doing for a long time with all the organizations and groups. Like crisis intervention, what is crisis intervention, how to do it, and what is a strategy. Like that, I think we had to make it accessible for people. And the value of that, people should understand. And also the concern, from where that concern comes. You know? And exact meaning, what is that concern? And if I'm sitting and saying that like, no, I will not break that trust. I don't want to, because I know the value of that. Because of that, I'm saying I will not break. I still do that, and I'm still doing that. When Rahi is there, still it, like, you know, there are calls which comes to me, and if I can do it, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll say.
So the session is up. Like people can ask questions, comments. I'm done with my questions. I'll come back maybe if I have a question or a comment to make. But please feel free to ask Sunil whatever comes to your mind. Okay, someone message saying, could Sunil please speak about Freedom Begum? It's an extremely important thing.
What I have just said, that how Freedom Begum came and how we wound up that. But what Freedom Begum, that was the work we did. And we did, I think, 12 workshops to frame that.
12 workshops?
Yeah. No, all residential workshops. Okay. 3 days, 4 days, like that. And we did 1 or 2 trials, like calling people to our workshop space and we go in the full play, run through in front of people and taking opinions and suggestions from people we did. And then after all that thing only, the play actually came into the.
They have written that it's an extremely important play. I don't know, they wrote to me privately, and it's worrisome that they wouldn't want to perform it anymore.
It is not that like no, though they wouldn't want to perform it anymore. It was there are some issues inside that team. People felt because of that they said like there is no point continuing like this. Which we tried to talk, but it failed. That's why people were not ready to understand. See, basically the thing is like what does that play mean? What the play talk about? Right? It's talk about an inclusion and discrimination, or like no, it's that. And some of the people who are acting in that have felt the same thing inside that group. Then what is the point of taking this group ahead? If people are not ready to address that also. When we try to address that, it fails. People are not ready to basically accept that and then talk about that.
And it's written that its play is important, especially given that it is a play that subverts trans exclusionary radical feminism. That's what the comment is. That it's Show has asked a question, Sunil. Sunil, thank you for your brilliant insights. Our network hasn't been so great, so apologize if you have already addressed, but interested to know how a place like Bangalore, which is so NGOized, how have you resisted NGOization? It's Tanmay Nacho.
That's a struggle. That's a fight, a continuous fight which I'm doing. I'm still fighting. And I mean, like, I think that is the only way we can do is like to make the community who is coming, new community people who are coming into the space, have conversations, have like put across these kind of engagements with them, like with other groups, everything. This funding and NGO politics, I'm basically tired with that actually. I'm still fighting against that, boss. It is not only here, I'm sitting here and fighting in Kerala also.
So Rahi is not a registered group?
It is. It is registered as a trust. So Rahi we formed because of this lot of crisis cases which is there. To systemize how we can look at how we can systemize crisis intervention. That's what our thought is, and we are trying towards that. And we're doing trainings for different groups, crisis intervention trainings, and also like we have from the old strategies we have changed the certain strategies and looking at that going further. So, but one thing I have to say that if we have to do that kind of a work, we need a dedicated lawyer, which we have, thankfully.
Yes.
That is our victory. We actually have one, which is Deepta, which is so dedicated to this thing. Everybody know that I was not well and all. At that point of time, a lot my work and all these things. She is the one who took it and did it. I didn't know that. Like I did. Nobody have asked me. Nobody have disturbed me for anything because she took that initiative. She did. So that dedication in Rahi, that's what we are like. No, because of that only we are surviving. I think that dedication is there, and it is so like no well to do the crisis, and that's another way of training which I'm seeing. Like no, because we are associated with ALF, me and Rumi, we like we from inside we what we did is like we a lot of people who are come they came there. We have did a process training for these lawyers, which is not like sitting in four walls and saying what is crisis intelligence. It is not that. Actual crisis comes and we drag people into that. Like that, we like the first Maitri was there. Maitri left, and then this one came. Maitri left, and then we had like Darshana was there. We trained like Darshana was good in that, and then Bindu was there, and Bindu left. And finally, like Deepta came in, and we did that training. And we were doing crisis. When crisis comes, we have a meeting, and we call Deepta, and we sit there and we'll talking about that, and we strategize. So that is a kind of a process training which we did.
Yeah, yeah. No, without lawyer, we do crisis intervention. Without lawyer, we wouldn't be able to function.
Yeah, but the problem is like with lawyer also we might not be able to function. We need that kind of a dedicated thing. Like
Yeah.
no, that is what happening in Kerala. We have a lawyer, but
yeah.
in Kerala a lot of lawyers are there, but on that particular time we will not get any.
Yeah.
That volunteerism is needed there.
Yeah. Charles wants to ask a question. Charles, why don't you ask yourself?
Hi, Sunil.
Hi.
Hi, it's been lovely to see you and to hear you actually tell the story of such a long time in such a short time, and there's so much I can imagine you could say more. But you know, I've been thinking, and I've sort of seen your journeys very closely also. But I'm thinking that one of the things that I have always, and many of us have always learned from each other is, new directions in which our thought and activism has taken us. Right? And we've always learned from each other all of that. So I'm thinking, what are you guys thinking? What happens now? There is this whole COVID thing happening. There's been the CANRC. There's been all this. We seem to be living in slightly even more difficult times.
Yeah.
And there is such a huge international backlash against trans issues, especially in gender identity. And I'm sure that here also, with the trans, the kind of discussions. So I don't know, what do you think? What's happening next? Where do you want to put your energies next? Just some loud thinking around that. And
yeah, I'm already like now we are thinking that is a continued discussion me and Bhumi is having now. Is that like in this difficult time, how people have been surviving their life and what was the difficulties which have affected people, and how they have coped up with this. So to find out that, we are going to do a study on that, and what is the next we can do for this? From the people only we can hear. That's what I'm thinking. So we are going to starting that conversation again. Part of the discrimination project, but discrimination projects in this particular time, we are diverting that into the current situation. That's what we are thinking.
thanks, makes sense.
Um, Someone wants your email. That can we give them your email ID?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For what?
Would it be possible to get Sunil's email, please? Supraja writes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can give that.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
So right now, this thing is like I'm sitting here doing crisis intervention in like Bangalore, like part of Dahi, and also I'm part of Sahayatrika. So whatever comes there, also calls comes to me, and I direct them and I tell them what to do. All that things.
Is
So
happening.
that is another experience which I have, because it was always like that, like no, because it is not crisis is not only which is like no, it will come from our own spaces, which is not in same city. Always the crisis was from outside, like no, people want different spaces, and we have to reach it to like no, they will reach it to us, and we have to somehow reach it to them and say that like no, how to do it and what. And so some cases what we do is like no, we strategize, and with the people only we strategize. Who is in crisis, with them only we strategize, because we don't know how is their family and what is their situation there. So we'll ask that, and we'll say these are the strategies which is there, but which to use it is your this thing, because according to your house system and like no, where how your house is placed, where it is placed, and how your family is, basically like that. So over phone we have done lot of crisis cases like that for people to run away from home.
Um, any more questions, comments?
Actually, the Bangalore people are very good at giving tips about running away.
Yeah.
Not only that, as to how to support people, how to reach out to people coming from different languages, coming from different places, coming with very little skills and very little support. I think what Sunil has told us today is like what one will call the broad strokes, and all the details of the fun stories also, but also the horrible stories both. Maybe if you can share some recent
What?
ones that we've not heard.
Sorry.
Maybe you can share some recent ones that we've not heard of the nature of work, nature of crisis, and the ways in which you're dealing with it.
Interesting, yes. Yeah.
Nature of crisis is, see that demand or the need is the same, that like no, they want to live together, they want to come out from home, what to do, right? We will say that like no, okay, like we'll sit and ask their full story and what is the situations are. Do you have any political background, in the sense of like political party this thing support, all these things we inquire. And with all that, like there are some people who said like no, my family doesn't have that and all. But when we started doing the crisis, they're actually were there, they had a political party influence. So then we like know how you what to do, kind of a thing. And then we what is the next step, like we also have to catch hold of some political party here. And I feel that like it's because of these judgments and these things are there, we we could be able like we could catch someone and say that like this is the thing and you can't do this is against the law, like that we feel like all kinds of circus we do. And see, in Kerala, what is happening, that is another problem. Is like, no, because of this lockdown and all these things, there are a lot of people who are stuck in their homes.
Yes, yes.
They are not able to come out. They are facing a lot of violence, and they are reaching out to us, and we don't know what to do. We can't go in this time, and we ask people that, like, no, please hold on because of this situation. We will not be able to do it like earlier, but give some time and let's see. So some people have like done that. They have waited for 3-4 months now. Beyond that, facing severe violence, couldn't be at home. They came out. Then what we like in Kerala, because these shelter homes are there, we ask them to go there, and then we ask them to wait, because until in Kerala, what we do is like, no, we don't give the statement first. മനുഷ്യ കട്ട് ചെയ്താണെന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞൂടെ? ഞാനൊരു മീറ്റിംഗിലാണ് വൈ കട്ട് ചെയ്തതാണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? പിന്നെന്തിനാ വീണ്ടും വീണ്ടും വിളിക്കണം? ഞാൻ ഒരു മീറ്റിംഗിലാ.
Sunil, you're there?
One second, yeah. Sorry, one call came. Yeah, so like when people come, we'll wait if like and we'll try to figure out that is there any. എന്ത് മനുഷ്യ? തന്നോടല്ലേ പറഞ്ഞു ഞാൻ ഒരു മീറ്റിംഗിലാണ്, ഓൺലൈൻ മീറ്റിംഗിലാണ്. താൻ എവിടെയാ?
Yeah, you were saying something. Yeah.
If there is a missing complaint filed or not, we'll find out that first, and then we will.
Can't hear you. Something is wrong, Sunil. Can't hear you. Wait. Can't hear you. No. Yeah. You can end the meeting, call him later and speak to him maybe, and have a different discussion sometime later with Rumi.
Yeah, we can do that, but we will ask everyone what others think.
Yeah. What others think?
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. No problem. Yeah, because he can't continue, so it's okay because
there is no
बात नहीं, उसने बात क्यों रखी है?
Yeah, there is no replacement zone.
ठीक है. So we shall.
Okay.
I wait for next Saturday now.
Yeah, the next Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Hello, you guys take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.